Letter Roman 4 Medical treatment, Amusements, German master, Brokle, Preparations for Departure, by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. As I was sitting at breakfast this morning, I had a visit from my physician. He looked with consternation on the table. "Butter," he exclaimed. "Strawberries, tea, milk." There was a crescendo of horror in his voice. One by one these slender luxuries were withdrawn, and I was left with a little bread and water, the staple of the place, ad libitum. Though the cure of these waters is not an agreeable process, I have great faith in the advantages that accrue. There is a day or two called the crisis, which I have just passed, about the 15th or 16th after beginning the waters, which indeed resembles the crisis of a serious illness. The body becomes inert and languid, with a sense of illness pervading the frame. The mind is haunted by apprehension of evil, and is disturbed by a nervous restlessness and irritability of the most distressing kind. After a day or two these symptoms disappear. I experienced it most painfully, and am now quite well, but rather eager to get away. I am heartily tired of the waters, the promenade, the dinners, the sick, and the surrounding scenery is by no means interesting enough to compensate for our disagreeable style of life. Generally, the assembling at a German bath is a signal for gaiety, but the physicians here discountenance every sort of excitement, and their malades are very obedient. The Queen of Württemberg is here incog, as Frau Gräfin von Teck, with 2 Gräfin in her daughters, fine girls with all the beauty of youth and health. The artificers of Kissingen celebrated her arrival by walking in procession, with torches, into the courtyard of her hotel where the band played, and the torches flared and smoked, till everybody was blinded and begrimed. The Queen walks in the morning early to drink the waters, and the centre alley of the gardens is left free for her. Such persons as have been presented she has asked to dinner, but gives no further sign of life. Once a week there takes place what they call a reunion, when everybody meets in the conversation house built by the King of Bavaria for the benefit of the baths. It is as good a ballroom as that of Olmec, or in the palace of the King of Holland at The Hague, but the miserable use they made of it shocked us. At 8:30 the room is crowded, but the company do not dance, although there is a good band playing quadrilles, waltzes, and gallops the whole evening. Sometimes 2 couples may be seen turning in the midst of the crowd. Sometimes these may augment to 6, but it is rare, and this in a room where several hundred people are assembled. The cause is the despotic decree of the triumvirate of doctors above mentioned, who maintain dancing to be absolutely incompatible with drinking the waters. They tried to get up the appearance of a fete on the birthday of the Queen of Bavaria. They dressed the salle manger at the curhouse with boughs of trees. The governor dined at our table and gave a toast. The Queen, while the band, we always have music at dinner, played our national air which the Bavarians claim for their own. The ceremony of dining was thus longer and more tiresome than usual. There was an illumination in the evening, and the canopy to the mineral springs looked pretty, picked out in lamps. The King of Bavaria came over this morning. He is popular as a good king and a clever man, fond of the arts, but is esteemed to have a bee in his bonnet, which bee appears to have degenerated into a wasp with his son Otho. The Crown Prince of Bavaria is much respected, and has the reputation of being gifted with his father's talents, with judgment superadded. The appearance of the king is droll enough. Tall, with long legs and arms, he walks furiously fast, talks earnestly and loud, and gesticulates violently. He dresses shabbily, and his thin, adust face is inconceivably wrinkled. The baths which he particularly patronizes are those of Brokle, about 20 miles distant, where he has a palace. These are still waters, and most people go to strengthen themselves there, after being diluted by the Kissingen springs. The king has perceived the flow of money brought into other states by the resort of strangers to the baths, and is very anxious that his should be celebrated. For this reason, he decorated Dr. Granville's buttonhole with a bit of ribbon, much to the disgust of the native physicians, who are provoked to remark, "Our king is sometimes one fool." Dr. Granville is practicing here, also to the discontent of the native medical people, who see the rich current of English guineas turn away from themselves. However, as he is the cause of many coming here, he has certainly a right to profit by their visits. The king is very fond of receiving the English. He understands our language and asks in royal style 1,000 rapid questions. Being somewhat deaf, he does not always hear the reply, and droll equivoques have taken place. Now that the Queen of Württemberg, who changes her dress 3 times a day, and never wears the same gown twice, promenades the gardens, the ladies pay more attention to their toilettes. But there is a great absence of beauty among us. There are no good-looking Germans, and the handsomest women are 1 or 2 Russians. The English do not shine as much as usual. As yet, few persons of rank are arrived, the season for touring with us is not yet commenced, and the good people of Kissingen will hail a second harvest when we hurry across the Channel at the end of the London season. Most of the men here are really ill and come to take care of their health. Accordingly, they obey the physicians who forbid gambling. It is only on Sunday, when it is the fashion for all our neighbours from many miles round to come over to dine at Kissingen, and that gaming tables are opened in some rooms of the cur-house, but they are thinly attended. No gaiety goes on in the conversation house with the exception of the reunions, but it is always open, a retreat and a lounge from the promenade in the gardens. There is a piano in it, and it is a specimen of German manners that ladies go in all simplicity to practice, and even exercise their voices in a public room, without any of the false shame or vanity or modesty that an Englishwoman would experience, and also without exciting any observation. I am ashamed to say I make no progress in German. My eyes and health have both held me back, and our master does not lead me on. Yet, though it is the fashion of his pupils to rebel, he has a practice which I am sure is a good one for any person desirous to speak the language quickly. With perseverance and a haughty sense of our duty towards him, he gathers us together, about 6 or 8 in the rooms of some one of us, to read aloud a play of Schiller, we each having a copy of the play with a literal translation on the other side. It is strange how quickly the eye can turn from the original to the translation, and the ear get habituated to remember the words and phrases. It is a royal road to a smattering of the language to which I shall certainly have recourse again, so to try to acquire a better knowledge of this crabbed, and to my memory antipathetic German. This evening we drove over to Brokle, about 4 miles off, described by Mary as another watering place, possessing 4 strong chalybeate springs, in which the salts and soda are largely mixed with iron. The action of the water is powerfully tonic and exciting. They taste like ink, but I liked them much, and drank several glasses, with a great sense of deriving benefit from them. I really believe I ought to take a course of still waters after those of Kissingen, but we are so tired of living at a watering place that I shall not. Brokle is situated in a little wooded dell, quite shut in. It is as secluded, shadowy and still as the abode of Morpheus described by Ovid. A few convalescent sick wandered silently under the trees, and a band tried to play, but only produced a lulling murmur, in accordance with a trickling rill and the gentle rustling of the leaves of the trees. In this dim limbo you can live as well and cheaper than at Kissingen. The expense here is not large, but for a family it is not small. Our household, 3 of us and my maid, cost us about £8 or £9 a week, house rent and everything included. We could easily spend more, but it is impossible from the system of things to spend less. The most agreeable luxury, indeed the only one that there is any opportunity of enjoying, are horses to visit the surrounding country. I wish we had our little Welsh ponies to scamper over the hills away from the Malades. The incidents of our day are few. Now and then Herr Fries, sometimes accompanied by his soi-disant English master, sometimes in all the desolating impotence of his unintelligible German, presses on our attention our pretended compact for 4 months. We have but one answer, the commissaire through whose mediation we made the bargain. I do not think Herr Fries has even applied to him, and when we mention the subject he treats it with lofty contempt. Meanwhile our month is nearly concluded, and we shall soon leave Kissingen. I assure myself that I have benefited by the waters, though I gain no belief from my companions who do not drink them, and find the place and its dinners very intolerable. In the midst of our balancing whither to go, a few circumstances have turned the scale. Letters have arrived from a college friend of P and K, begging us to come to Dresden. There is a railroad we find from Leipzig to Berlin, and from Leipzig to Dresden. My mind has for years been set upon seeing the galleries of pictures in these towns. We have had no warm weather. At the end of July the summer may be considered as well nigh over. We shall quit this place in a day or 2, and penetrate still deeper into Germany, visit cities renowned in history and pass over ground, the fields of 10,000 battles.